All right, TBD Pod, welcome everybody. Today we have Joanna Olsen. Joanna, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You are the owner of Tampa's Coyote Ugly and a few more locations around Florida.
Yes, we have Daytona, we have Panama City Beach, and Destin, Florida.
Fantastic. And you're celebrating 21 years of ownership in the Tampa location.
Correct. We had our big 21-year anniversary party Saturday.
That is awesome. But you didn't start out in Tampa. You were telling me before we went live, you started out in Atlanta.
Yes, Atlanta was my first location. And at that time, I chose Atlanta, Tampa, Panama City Beach, and Charlotte. Those were my 4 original locations.
Why those locations specifically? But let's focus on Tampa. How did you initially find Ybor City?
So I was in college, and we came for a college fun trip, and we went to 7th Avenue and had the time of our lives. And I said, I am going to put a bar here.
Where had you been and experienced nightlife at that point? Like, had you been to NOLA, Bourbon Street?
Yes, I had been there as well. So I fell in love with Tampa as a city. The 7th Avenue was just so fun. I had so much fun. And it was such a variety mix of people. And I love that melting pot feeling of every type. You had bike gangs, we had college kids, we had bachelor parties, bachelorette parties. You just had a mix of everyone, people smoking cigars.
That's right.
That was so much fun.
People dressed up for dinner
so historical, right. It was such a cool area.
It's definitely the most mixed, diverse, edgy place in all of Tampa Bay.
And I will be honest, Channelside was being developed at the same time. So I was really deciding and going back and forth.
And this is like 2000?
This is the year 2000.
Year 2000.
The year 2000. So Channelside was being developed. But then this was not on market, but I knew the owner. It was Fat Tuesday, and he was from Atlanta as well. So we happened to know each other. Contacted him. The timing was right. He was ready to go because he was based in Atlanta and just had a baby. So I said, "Let me buy your bar."
And you were in your early 20s at the time.
Yes.
So what made you want to open a bar so young? I mean, I get that's an obvious question.
Well, my degree is in architecture and design. And that's what I love to do is redo homes and things. But I always knew I wanted to own my own business. I just didn't know what that was going to be. And then I opened a nightclub. I was a designer for 2 years after college. I graduated at 21. So was a designer in Atlanta. And then we were all sitting around one night and we came up with Paradox, where fashion, art, music meets, and went and made it happen. And at that time, I always say, we didn't have Google really. You had to go down to the city. How do I get a liquor license? How do I get, you had to, it was a lot of learning process. So I'm still always learning. But
how long did you own that for?
We owned that for 5 years.
It was called Paradox?
I'm sorry, the Paradox, I had that for 4 years, yes. And that was in Atlanta in the Buckhead area.
Got it.
And then I had Coyote Ugly just 2 blocks away in the Buckhead area as well. So back in the 80s, 90s, that area was the big part. If you went to Atlanta, you went to Buckhead. Like it was like kind of like Ybor is. It's just where all the bars and nightclubs, you had Tongue and Groove, Chili Pepper, all these, it was the place to be.
Right. Well, now it's like very businessy, high end, right?
Yes,
a lot of nice
they
homes,
actually
big
knocked
mall.
down the whole entire area. So we were discussing that. So now I learned my lesson to always own my bars, because my biggest first complete heartbreak was when our 5-year lease was up and we were thriving. We were doing phenomenal. And then they told us only 24 hours prior, we're not going to renew your lease.
24 hours prior to the 5-year mark.
Yes.
Oh my God. And you guys were killing it, making money,
crushing
having fun.
I felt, plus you have your cleaning people who work for you. All my girls were doing great.
You didn't have an option in the lease to renew?
Nope. So that was your 5-year lease with a 5-year option, which then they put a parking garage there in a condo. So, I'm on both sides now. So I know, you know what I mean? Development happens and you have to change. But, and we were friends, and he used to give me a lot of good Braves tickets. But he said, you know what? We're building a hotel now. So we got to move.
So it is what it is. You got to move. Well, it's nice you own your building, Coyote Ugly.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So hence when we were here, I was like, from this point forward, I'm buying every building.
We're planting the flag. Now you own the ground floor.
Yes.
Another guy owns the top 2 floors.
Exactly.
It's
That's
a really
an
pretty
interesting
building.
picture of.
Yeah. What year is that? That's probably 23 October. Really cool. Love the brick.
Yeah, I would say
the good thing about
a few
Ybor
years
is
ago.
all these buildings are historical. They'll never be torn down. You're
Yes,
not gonna have
we're
a
the
situation
Aguilar
like that.
building, which was built and rebuilt from that fire in 1909.
Right, massive fire.
And
in
it was a
Ybor City.
cigar. It was a cigar factory.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So you were in love as soon as you saw the place. You got to know the bar owner of Fat Tuesdays. Was he already kind of on his way out?
You know, it's personal things. Like I said, he had a baby. He was living in Atlanta, and I think they had a great run.
Mm-hmm.
And rumor is that there's a new Fat Tuesday coming in where White Lie is. I don't know if
Ooh.
that's true or not, but that is
I
what
love
I've
that
heard.
brand. There's one in Key West. That's always a good time.
Yep. So that is coming in soon next to us. So that's kind of interesting. But I bought it as is and got rid of all the big the big things that hold all the, we did the work ourselves.
Right.
When you're starting out, you're just trying to save and dollar pinch everything.
All the slushies.
Yeah,
and the
we're building our
daiquiris.
bars by ourselves.
Wow.
We were in there. I've got some really cool footage from that. I should brought you, but yeah, we just cleared it all out. We'll
if
add
it's
it in.
available, we can add it in.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So when you came to Tampa, you thought like, what? Oh, it's like a mini Bourbon Street. This is a great nightlife scene.
Exactly.
So was it just a no-brainer? Hey, this is the place I want to be in Florida.
Absolutely. And I walked up and down 7th Avenue, and I almost bought one at the very end, what was just called Bar. I don't know if you remember that.
I'm too young.
BAR.
2000. I was at St. John's Episcopal. I was in like fifth grade or something.
Because we always I was with you. Yes, the other day they're like, oh, what were you, 3 when you opened this?
Right. Yeah.
I like to think that, but yes. So there was a bar called Bar at the very end that was awesome, and that was for sale as well. But I'm so glad that I chose this because I feel like it's right in the center.
Totally.
Of all the good energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you opened up in, what'd you say, 2000, right here? 2001?
2003.
2003.
Yes, was the established opening, but bought it in 2000.
Got it, yeah. And so this was your first location in Florida. You're doing all the work yourself. How quickly did you feel like, hey, we're making it happen? People are getting packed in here.
Well, you want to get it open as quick as you can.
Right.
So I got it open in 6 months.
Damn.
So you just start your permitting right away, everything like that. But I would literally go to Home Depot, pick up 10 guys. They would come with me.
Holy shit.
And I would give them money every day and say, this is what we're doing today. We're demoing this area. We're building the bar. Did it all ourselves.
Wow.
I didn't even hire a crew.
Now, because it's a brand, right? Coyote Ugly. Why did you open that specific brand? Can we talk about how you met the owner of that brand and kind of go into that story? From New York, you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was visiting my family for Thanksgiving because I'm originally from New York, and we went out and we went to Coyote Ugly. And they were like, hey, it was just model week, and they harass you. That's what Coyote Ugly does.
Right.
And they were like, hey,
No
Simone,
shit.
get up on this bar and
Especially
do a shot
if
of
it's your
tequila or
birthday.
get the F out. And I had never even seen, there was, this is, again, the bar, everybody gets confused.
Yeah.
The movie's based on our bar. So I had no idea what was happening. It was a small little hole in the wall, and they're telling me to get on the bar and do a shot. So my cousin looks at me and's like, you better get up there right now. So about 8 shots later, met the owner, and I had a little validity because I had a nightclub at the time. So I said, I want to put this in Atlanta. And right when I got back, started searching, and I found Dixie Tavern, which is where I put the Atlanta location.
Were you the first franchisee for Coyote Ugly?
Yes.
Wow, in Atlanta.
Yes.
Fantastic.
There were Vegas was being built at the same time.
Got it.
So that's the only other one, and it's still there, and it's in New York, New York.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it's a New York,
awesome.
New York hotel.
That's funny. Wow, cool. So Atlanta opened. Amazing. Yeah, I would imagine that location that's the one that you had the 5-year lease on.
Yes, that's the one I had the 5-year lease. And then they redid the whole entire area of Buckhead. So they shut down every bar, nightclub, and demoed the whole entire area and redid it. And now it's like high-end restaurants and like Gucci and it's all high-end restaurants. And
that's what people are afraid of today with Ybor.
Yep.
There's a similar transition happening, but like I said, thank God it's a historic area. You're not going to have a complete, bulldozer coming in and rebuild.
Absolutely.
It's just going to be added onto and changed a little bit,
Yep.
hopefully for the better.
Absolutely.
I
feel like, I've had it for 21 years. So I've seen the pendulum go up and down and swing all around. And I mean, like you said, it's this historical, amazing area that has so much heritage for Tampa.
Yeah, totally.
So they want to, everyone wants to still keep that and just make it just get better and better.
It's also been a nightlife area for a long time.
Absolutely. It's been a nightlife area for 50 years.
Yeah.
So you definitely can't, take that away from it.
No, you can't take it away. You can certainly amend it. You can maybe make it cleaner, safer, nicer,
Absolutely.
make more people comfortable.
Yep.
All that's on the table.
Absolutely.
But I don't think you have to get rid of it completely. It's
No,
still a
not at
part of the
all.
identity of the area, of the neighborhood.
Absolutely. You want, I'm all about new places moving in and it being a safer area.
Yeah.
But you've got to have the bars and the restaurants, and that's the whole entertainment
Absolutely.
district that we're known for.
Well, if it's not safe, that affects your business in a very negative way.
Right,
You know,
absolutely.
a
And
safe
we do
area is
everything on our end to keep everyone safe. We have never had an incident inside of our bar or anywhere near us in 21
Except for
years.
your bartenders, they're pretty rough.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that? Can we talk about that? So
Yeah.
I don't know if I been for my birthday. I've been to your bar so many times, but I forgot if it was my birthday or one of my friends' birthdays, but they had, because I was getting whipped too, but they had him. I remember one instance specifically, they had him up on the bar and they were whipping the shit out of him.
Yes.
How did that whole tradition start?
So
What's
ever
going on?
since day one, it's a penalty shot.
Okay.
And I love that you guys pay for these.
Oh, yeah.
So you get blindfolded and we blindfold you, tie you up, and we write on your back something fun that you want.
Yep.
Like if you're like, you want to
Happy
buy it for your
birthday,
buddy.
dude.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little more edgy than that.
So
but
that started in New York.
Yep. It's been there since day one. We
And
do
they do
penalty
it in
shots.
Vegas,
Yep,
all of
They
that.
do at all the locations. If you say I want a penalty shot, that's what you get.
They're like,
and then
"Here
you
we
get
go."
you feel little spankings in the end with your own belt.
Yeah, they go hard. That's for
They
sure. Do they get trained in like how hard they can hit you?
Yeah,
they don't seem to hold back.
I would call training. Yeah,
Yeah,
we say let's not leave any marks. Let's do
Right.
it real.
But let's
a little
have some
pat.
fun.
Let's little pat.
21 years is so incredible. You were talking about like the ebb and the flow and the changes in the neighborhood. Is the most significant change happening right now, would you say?
I would say where we're headed is
Yeah.
the biggest change. And what I love is now we have Water Street downtown, the new Pier project. It's going to bring us all together.
Yeah.
Because there's so many areas behind us and between downtown and Ybor that could be used so much better. And that's where the
100%.
pier is going to go. So that's going to bring thousands of people living there, more restaurants, more, boardwalk for people to be right there in 2 blocks. Then you'll have 7th Avenue.
Mm-hmm. So
it's-
you're optimistic about the
I'm
changes.
very optimistic. And
Yeah.
I'm very, very fortunate that I did buy that building and own it. So we can be part of this change. And we've done, as you can see from the pictures you showed, you keep it historical. You can only paint it the certain colors. The new brick and mortar, we just put new mortar in that, cost $250,000. You're
Wow,
always
really?
doing to improve it and do it. Yeah, just the mortar right there. That's all new brick mortar. And we did the whole building from all the way around. So yeah.
It's so worth it though to have these historic structures complements the neighborhood so well.
So well.
It
You
speaks to
even
the
look at ours
history.
and they need to redo their brick too. So it's
They
like
do.
you just want to keep that the way it looks.
Well, you remember, Ybor City 20, 30 years ago, it was a lot rougher. And cosmetically,
Yes.
right? The roads were horrible. The buildings were decrepit. Like things have gotten nicer over
yeah,
time.
when we bought it, it was jamming. It was, if you lived in Tampa, that's where you went, or
Right.
Blue Martini. That's you were at the mall or you were in Ybor City.
Yeah, I would come.
And they've added a bunch of, since then they've added beautiful gas lamps everywhere. They've redone all those.
Yeah, the city's came in
structures.
and done some
The
stuff
city's
too.
done some amazing. The city is putting a lot of money into this area because they know it's this historical Cuban area.
Mm-hmm.
And this weekend they're doing a big Cuban festival.
Cuban's massive, but it also had a ton of other immigrants too. The Sicilians, like my
It was
family.
Italian. The Italian club is
Italians.
right across the street
That's
from us.
exactly right. The Germans, the Spaniards. It's always been a diverse, multicultural community, and it's still that way today. That's what makes it so cool.
I just did a tour of the Italian club 4 years ago, and I'm
Yeah.
like, this is it's unbelievable.
It's beautiful.
And they used to do beautiful their operas in there, and it's amazing.
It is amazing.
It's
yeah.
really cool. The
Well, the
Cuban
building
club,
itself
the Italian
is
club,
incredible.
That's what I'm
It's
saying. You
prominent.
can't redo that. You can't build that
You
new.
cannot. And you know what? You don't want to. We don't. I don't think anyone wants to turn
Yeah, look
Ybor
how
into this
beautiful.
commercial shopping plaza look. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's really cool to have a unique place. Thank God we'll never lose it. And thank God you own your building. You'll be there for as long as you want to.
Yes.
For
Plan is definitely to be there. Reaching 21 years has been unbelievable. But
that is unbelievable.
We are having our best year yet.
Best year yet,
Yeah,
really.
we really are. So it just shows you how much people still are going there. our crowds itself are really awesome.
You are very optimistic about all the changes happening. I know other operators don't really feel the same way. That seems like a lot of bar owners are frustrated with the changes.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's exclusively because you own your real estate, so you just can put your hands up and say, hey, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not worried about it?
Yeah, and I think it's also because I'm such part of the community too. We're always giving back as well. We're doing, really, we just do so much to make our bar so safe and so great. We do have metal detectors. Everyone does now.
Right.
You always want to make sure everyone is safe inside. It's just such a fun, good time. And the nostalgia of Coyote Ugly.
Yeah.
Like I said, the movie's based on us. It's just girls getting on the bar, having fun, doing choreographed dances. So the devil went down to Georgia. The girls have to try out. They have to train. They have to learn these dances.
A bar is a hard word for it because it really is more than that.
It's a lot more than that.
It's a
bartending
show.
here is you've got to get up. Do an 8-hour bar shift. Those girls work very, very hard.
It's a workout.
Yeah, they get up there. They do the dances. Well, we get patrons on the bar. Our whole goal is to get all the patrons on the bar. So that's what we're doing there.
Aren't you afraid of liability? Like, what if someone falls off?
Yeah, well, we have pretty guys.
Shit happens. You have big dudes standing
worried
down there,
about it. Yes,
ready to catch them.
I think about it every night when I'm going to bed. I basically wake up in the morning and look at my P&L and make sure everything's. But knock on wood, it happens a lot less than you would think.
Thank God.
Yes.
But what is your mindset like owning how many of these in Florida bar ownership must be dicey, right? Like, don't you think about all the liability and the fighting and all the negative stuff that does come with owning a bar that is alcohol fueled?
Yeah, I just saw a quote the other day. Of course, I'm always learning and evolving and things, but it's being resilient and knowing that things are going to happen every day, whether it's a hurricane coming, whether there's so many things out of your control. True. Is what I'm saying.
And you're a good operator. You've said safety is at the forefront. You make sure no one's being overserved, hopefully trying to keep an eye on people. That's a big part of your.
It's like we really are like a family. Like even our bathroom valet, like he's been with me since day one, 21 years.
Really?
His name's Tony. And it's like, he was like, happy birthday to me. It's 21 years for me.
Wow.
Cleaner's been with me 15 years. A lot of people don't think of all the other people that you employ and give them a job. It's not just the bartenders, it's security and, because I felt like during COVID, we were kind of treated like the redheaded stepchild. Like, oh, bars aren't a necessity. But, I do employ over 200 people between all the locations. Yeah. And they have families, and absolutely it's a necessity for them.
That's incredible. You've had a guy, the bathroom valet there for 21 years. Yep. Have you had any bartenders stick around that long?
No, not the bartenders. They usually
graduate
around 35 to
right.
I'd say 40 max. That's when they graduate.
Well, how long has your longest one been there for?
I would say 8 years. We had one girl there for 8 years. And a lot of times they transition into a manager.
That's a lot of penalty shots.
With the women, they ended up usually starting a family. So yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I have a lot of
Man,
but we don't have a lot of turnover, which is good because you put so much into learning the dances. So it's not like another place. So we really had most of my girls have been with me over 4 to 5 years right now.
Yeah, they're invested.
Yeah, they're invested and they make great money. They love their job and they love the atmosphere. So
I'm sure a lot of girls come to the bar and enjoy it as a patron before they want to apply, right?
Yes.
They come and they go, oh my God, the energy's fantastic. Like if I'm going to be a bartender, this is where I want to work.
Absolutely.
Is there a training camp they go through? Like how do you get them prepared to be a bartender?
So they come in and they try out and get on the bar. And we just see, first and foremost, we want to know that they have a great, fun attitude and can play with people.
Right.
Because the whole thing is if you walk in with your friends, I'm going to be like, hey, you know what? I'm not having a great day. Let's do a shot together. Come on. It's very interactive. It's a very interactive bar. So they have to have that good personality to start with. And of course, we want them to be attractive. We like to have girls of all different shape, sizes, we want everybody to look a certain way and act a certain way, but the attitude's the most important. And then the dancing. So they have to be able to dance because they have to learn 5 choreographed dances that we do every hour.
But also do their own thing, right?
Yes. They also just get up and dance to their own that thing as well as what she's doing right there.
I love it.
Well, she's behind the bar, but they're always dancing behind, in front, they're always trying to get other people on the bar and all that too.
Do you serve any food?
We do not.
Have you thought about it?
Yep, I have thought about it. And I did do it at one location. But when you have to get through the health department and build a whole kitchen and do all that, we don't have the room here for that. And we're so fortunate. We have a great pizza place next door and this and that. True. And you just don't really want to deal with that, the cost. When you have a good bar, the liquor cost is between 18 and 21. When you add food, you're going up to 35. You're really, your costs just get a lot higher, a lot quicker.
Plus the equipment and, like you said,
100%.
health, food safety.
You have to have a cook. You have to
Just
adding
much.
all these other items.
What was the location you served food at?
We did it in Destin for about 6 months. Because it's not like Ybor, it's a standalone building.
Got it.
So we tried to just do like a coyote burger and wings and things like that. But then you can't really be eating wings when people are dancing on the bar. And
true.
At the end of the day, people they're just there to drink. I mean, they're there to do a bachelor party, bachelorette party. It's they're going to eat before and they come to do shots,
That is the bachelor and bachelorette spot, though.
Yes,
you always see
is.
people in there.
We are
having
second
a
to
time.
Nashville. Tampa is second to Nashville now.
Really?
Yes.
At Coyote Ugly in terms
Just
of
the city.
Just the city? Really?
Destin, I take that back. It's Nashville's number 1. Destin is number 2. Tampa's number 3 for bachelorette parties. It's changed from Vegas.
That is insane. I feel like Charleston's got to be on that list too. I was just there this past weekend. It was insane.
That, I'm sure it is. Because people want to go to the beach. They want to make a weekend out of it. So, a lot of us people have been to Vegas, and I think that's what they want. They want to mix, go somewhere for a weekend and enjoy other things too. You want to go party and drink, but you also want to go fishing or go to the beach.
Yeah, you want to be
do
somewhere
other things.
unique too. I feel like people kind of know what they're getting when they go to Vegas. Even if you haven't been to Vegas, you have a very good idea of what it's going to be like. Whereas Tampa, it's so much more than just 7th Avenue.
Absolutely.
And more to come too.
So much more to come.
So much more to come in Ybor City.
That's what I love about, I'm so passionate about and love this area is that, I personally live in Hyde Park. Then you go right here, you're downtown. I can get to a Lightning game in 8 minutes and get to Ybor in another 4 minutes. Everything's so close. And
so your
I love our
locations-
transit system. We need to, we're working on getting our transit system better, which is the one thing I feel are lacking.
The good news is you have a trolley in Ybor that connects to
Yes,
downtown.
it does.
Having that as a foundation
That has
is a
been
great
awesome.
start.
It is so great.
And you have a stop not too far from you up on 8th, right? I
Yep.
think you're like
Exactly.
very,
And a lot of
very
people do
close.
that. They go to the Lightning game and take the trolley or both, or they come party there before and then go to the game.
You're starting to really see a little bit of a bar hop culture along the Riverwalk. You have Armature Works, people walk with drinks all the way down. Hopefully, if that connects to Ybor Harbor in the future, people will go up to 7th Avenue or take the trolley as well.
Absolutely.
And you see the trolley's packed.
It is.
People love it. The
They
tourists
love it.
I think it's a great thing. We should expand it.
I love it. I
Me
know.
too.
I just want it to go all the way down.
I think it should go straight down 8th, maybe get onto 7th and go to Armature straight across.
I agree. And they'll
then
probably
do a
add
loop.
that. I think that's a great idea.
It's probably in the works. I think they've actually talked about it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
would be great.
Everything, what's happening with the development, they're just starting to join all the, so it's not such separated areas.
Right.
So
I'm so glad you're optimistic about it. It's important that the people that have been operating in Ybor for the last few decades are in with the times and agree in a sense with the growth.
100%.
You hear
And
a lot
have
of sentiment that's negative.
You can't change the whole area. I know
Right.
that there's some developers who just want to change everything. But what makes Ybor so unique and why I fell in love with it 22 years ago is because of the difference of people and the variety.
Yeah.
I like having a tattoo shop and then a place where you have original cigar, Cubans rolling cigars, and then you've got La Columbia that's been there since 1952.
Right. It's been there since the big 1900s. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, you have these places that are the great sushi place.
Samurai
Blue. I went there the opening night 21 years ago. The sushi's better than it's ever been there.
I didn't know they'd been there that long.
They were there. I went there for dinner right before I opened the bar. Wow. I went and had a sushi roll.
I love it for the same reasons. I mean, I've had parents' birthdays parties. My grandfather just had his 90th birthday at the Columbia. I did my birthday at Santa Stefano. My dad has 50th at Carmine's. And then you go outside and people are partying. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love the mix of energy. I think it's really, really cool.
And we've got a lot more police presence too.
Yeah.
And they're back on the horses and things like that. And one thing I wish they would do is when I originally opened the first 5 years, the 7th Avenue was closed down. So there was no through traffic. And I think that helps tremendously with safety because then people can't have things in their cars or they can't be loitering through that area. And I saw such a big difference when we did that before to now.
So that's one of the differences you've seen.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
when I first opened, Ybor, they shut down 7th Avenue at 5 p.m. every day.
it's probably a smart move.
It is a smart move.
You have
people walking around
Aren't they going to re-brick 7th Avenue?
Yes, they're re-bricking it as well.
That'll be
It's gonna be
great.
so beautiful.
Yeah, it'll be really, really pretty. Do you know, it'll probably be in front of Coyote Ugly, but it'll be where? From like what, 22nd-ish to
Yep, they're
Haya,
doing
something
7th
like
Avenue
that?
all the way down
All the
to
way
the
down.
entrance of Ybor where it says welcome to Ybor.
Oh, that's going to be
Yeah.
great. Super smart of them to do that.
With the new Haya Hotel over here, right in that area up to us.
It's interesting that the west side of Ybor is like becoming, luxury is the wrong word, but certainly like the nice side, right? Like Haya is very high end, and then you have the Chop House and
Yep.
what's 10 Rooms? Have you been to 10 Rooms yet?
I have not, but I've heard great things about it.
It's beautiful. They have cocktails on tap. Completely different experience than Coyote Ugly, but it's awesome you have both.
Well,
on
that's what I'm
7th
saying.
Avenue.
That's what I want. You know, I even want to, like you said, we go to Copper Shaker, have a drink, or go to, you know, Southern Belle, have a drink, then go to Coyote. That's the thing, is you want to be able to bounce around. That's why people love going to 7th Avenue.
Well, you don't really have that anywhere else in Tampa. Like a place
Right.
where you can get dinner, you're already dressed up, you can go to the next cocktail bar, go see some live music. Like to get rid of that completely would be a shame.
Absolutely.
It'd be horrible.
It would be horrible.
You
it would be.
need
There's
a
no other
nightlife
area
district.
like that.
Zero.
And,
And Soho's not going to cut it, right? Soho's like college bars.
Right.
Soho's fun, but I wouldn't say it's for everyone.
No,
Ybor
not
to
at
me
all.
is
I
for
mean-
everyone. You have people in suits having dinner next to some college kid
exactly.
drinking.
That's
next
what I
to a
said. I love it.
bachelorette
You have a
party.
guy, you know, an 8 or 7-year-old guy with his friends having a cigar. Then you've got a bachelorette party. That's why I've seen you have such an eclectic
And thousands and
mix.
tens of thousands of people get along every weekend.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, there's one event, like a shooting or something happens, and it puts this negative connotation on the entire area.
Yes, it
But it's
does.
bullshit because it happens in every city across America, and it happens in other locations in Tampa. And then that
Correct.
other location doesn't get that connotation. It's unfortunate Ybor has that stigma, but I think it's changing.
I do too. And you know, it does have that, it feels, or people say it's a little more dangerous than Ybor, but I'm like, well, come check it out and
Come
come
check it
there.
out.
And when they go there, they're like, wow. You know, they do go have dinner, and then they do, like I said, get a cigar rolled and then come to Coyote Ugly, and they have a blast. And it's
Totally.
just, I think the city's doing a good job of trying to make, you know, pro Ybor.
Totally.
I mean, we just won one of the top 50 places.
I know,
to
top 50
live.
neighborhoods in America.
I mean,
I believe it.
that is
You know,
so-
that might
was
be
a
too
far-fetched,
early.
but I was like, I will take it.
We might be too early on that list, but I
Yeah.
think we'll get there eventually.
I do too.
You know, during the day, it's amazing. You have tour guides happening. You have people that are stopping on cruise ships coming to hang out. We have a chair, by the way, behind you, just so you know. Sorry, I should have pointed that out. But yeah, like you have this really eclectic mix of people, and I love that because Ybor has always been that way. And anytime a neighborhood is transitioning, there's going to be issues. There's going to be businesses that go
100%.
under. There's going to be people that are pissed off.
Yep.
But you have to have an optimistic attitude because the reality is we live in a place where people want to move. So you're going to have more people moving here.
Yeah. I mean, Tampa is one of the fastest growing cities, as we know, as it should be.
So wouldn't you rather have a place that's nice and new and gets a new brick street, right? We
Yeah.
want that investment to come into Tampa. The last thing I would hate to have happen is to have this incredible amount of growth all across Tampa Bay and have Ybor get ignored. Ybor, to me, is the cultural heart of our entire region.
I totally
like,
agree.
It is the reason, it's the reason for the region. It truthfully is. Like, it's the reason why this area experienced growth in the late 1800s in the first place. It was always a destination for a mix of people, really all around the world. Unfortunately, it went through decades of decay and then the resurgence of nightlife. And like the 80s, you might know better than me in terms of timing. Like when you arrived in 2000, like you said, it was still very heavy nightlife.
Oh, it was awesome. I
When
mean,
did
that's
all-
why I picked it. I mean, Tuesday night was bike night, and you had bikers. Like I said, the streets were closed down, but they had that bike night.
Wonder why they opened the streets back up.
We've gone in talks about it.
Yeah.
They said it's a cost. And there's different people that want it open, other people don't want it open, but to me, and I appreciate your opinion because you're so involved with everything, but don't you understand that's what most cities do? New Orleans does it. If you have
Charleston
a city,
does it, yeah.
If you have a city, you don't want cars coming in and out. And again, with that, you get crime, you get drugs, you get You know, people can have a gun in their car. That's where you get that. So you want to keep that far away. When just let pedestrians walk. You don't want any pedestrians to get hit.
Yeah.
They are out having drinks. That's the whole point, is that it's a party place. Like you said, in Charleston does it. You know, that main strip is closed down.
Sarasota does it.
So, yeah.
You know what I mean? There's plenty of communities that do it. There's plenty of cities.
So
that
I'm hoping we shift back to that, because they would just close down the majority, the heavy part of 7th Avenue.
Well, I would imagine the goal for Tampa PD would be control, right? Like crowd control.
Correct.
Where everyone is at, where are the crowds congregating, just to keep an eye on everyone, I think is really important. And I would imagine it's easier to do that with the roads closed. You can control traffic, 100%. You can control the pedestrians.
That's what, when we first opened, it was like the police officers were on horses, and that was
you're not pulling some shit when there's a horse. You know what I mean? You're like,
not at all. The horses really do well.
So I mean, a manpower thing, it probably costs more money to do that because you have to have more cops and more resources. I get it, but it seems worth it to me.
Totally. And as a business, we have along the way, we have contributed greatly to that. And as a business, I want to. So it's not just owning your building, but I'm contributing to the community. Like, I hire off-duty police officers. I do events, and we have so many festivals in Ybor. Like I said, this weekend, you have so many, the Italian festival, like you said, almost every weekend, there's something very unique and cultural going on. So you want it to be safe, and there's families down there all day.
There's this huge new art scene in Ybor, which is really exciting too.
There's 3 new art galleries actually in Ybor, and they are awesome.
Crazy, right?
Yep.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's a huge one is it the Crest building? It's like right west of you guys.
Yes.
Are you getting together with other operators that have been established in Ybor for the past few decades and talking about all these different changes?
We got together recently, about 5 months ago, but we're about to get together again.
Yeah.
And then hopefully all of us who own our buildings can come together and say, this is kind of our plan too, because I want the whole community to be great. I want those bars to stay open. We want to have a big meeting and kind of all have everything, that we all work together. Because people are like, when a new place opens, they act as though I'm threatened. I'm like, no, I love it. I love that people have more choices to bounce around and bar hop and go to a nice, like the new beautiful oyster restaurant we talked about that's about to open. We have some really high-end restaurants moving in as well. So then after that, they're going to want to go have a drink at Coyote Ugly, and they're going to go to a nightclub, you know? So
do you do any live music?
We do not. We have a DJ. We have a DJ.
You ever thought about having a band come in?
Yeah, you know, we do have them once in a while during the day for something, and the back bar we'll set up, and we do that once in a while.
People love live music.
They do love live music.
But the reason why you go to a bar is because it has a specific vibe you're looking for.
Yes.
If it's only one note, if it's only one vibe, it's boring.
Exactly.
You want options.
I mean, even myself, I was at my 21st anniversary party, but I stopped by 3 other bars that night myself, and ended up at Southern Nights at the end of the night. Yeah. You know, that's what's fun. I love the variety of everything.
You're in a great pocket too, like you said. I think you've got like Gas Monkey across the street. I love that place.
It's Bad Monkey, but I love it. It's great. And it's all military. You know, it's very pro-America. All military guys own it. Yeah. I'm very good friends with them. So, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. We are all friends. They all came and supported me on my anniversary. You know, I had 7 other owners of restaurants, you know, supporting me, because we know what it takes and how hard it is to get through this. Like you said, the sleepless nights and the things that happen that are out of control, you know, that we wake up to. And
it's worth it though.
It is.
You provide fun. That's a cool thing.
We do provide fun. That's what I said. We've been providing fun for 21 years.
You're optimistic, but are the other operators mostly optimistic about changes?
I definitely see the people who don't own their own buildings very nervous and scared if they're going to be able to stay open. So I've experienced that myself. So that's a really tricky thing, because you've got to be very careful about that, because you want to keep these, you can't shut down every bar. So I am optimistic and hoping that they will renew their leases. Yeah. So a lot of those places can stay open, because like you said, I don't want it to be just 2 bars. No. You know, and we are a very fun name brand. We're, you know, all over the world. We just had another one open in London. So, you know, it's just really keeping like a bar like us mixed with, like I said, a tattoo shop. Then we want, great restaurants. And
You got to have it all.
We got to have it all. You have to have
Just
it all.
like the Cuban
That's
sandwich.
what makes the variety of people there.
That's the reason why the Cuban sandwich has all the different ingredients from different cultures. Like,
yes.
it's a
I did just read about that.
area. That's what it is. You had the pork, the mojo pork from the Spaniards, and the German mustard and the Italian salami. You have this mix of people. We don't want it to be one note. That's boring.
Right.
Keep Ybor diverse.
Right.
And I think the only way to do that is to allow the good operators and the people that have been there a long time, who've proven they give a shit.
Right.
Proven they provide the right security, the right atmosphere and I don't know that there's any operators that don't do that. I truthfully don't. I mean,
I can't.
Not that you would call anyone out, but like, I would imagine that all the people that have been in operations for decades are doing the right things. Unfortunately, whenever you have a lot of alcohol in large crowds, you have issues.
Correct.
And I don't know that that's a bar owner's fault. That sounds like Tampa PD could do more, shut the street down like we talked about.
Yes.
I don't know where the solution lies, but I don't know that you can entirely blame a bar owner who's done good business for decades.
Not at all. And that's where I was
it's sad
explaining.
To see him close.
It's so frustrating because I am doing everything in my power, to make sure everyone, our patrons and my staff, is always safe.
Yeah.
So when you do have an incident that did happen, say on Halloween, where they just blurt out, this happened, it was an ongoing feud with two guys who were only 13 and 14 years old, who shot each other 8 blocks away. They never went in a bar that night. They never went anywhere. They never even went into an establishment. And then the next thing you know, that week, I'm fighting to keep my bar open till 3 a.m. instead of 1 a.m., which would cost me in sales $1 million. And I pay taxes, and I pay a liquor tax, and I hire off-duty police officers.
Something like that
so they're devastating.
It would crush
things.
you. It would be so devastating
For my bartenders,
and
for
not
my
just
staff, for everyone.
Hundreds of people.
Exactly.
Hundreds of people.
So you got to think that through. You can't just make a knee-jerk reaction and say, well, if we close at 1, now none of these incidents are going to happen. We obviously have recently seen, something happened at Armature Works and something happened in Soho.
That's right.
To call them out, but you see it happens anywhere where where you have a lot of congested people partying.
Yeah.
Other elements go to that area.
Yeah. It's important to say it's not exclusive to Ybor.
Right.
It's a really important point. Not and granted, it's not good anywhere.
No, it's
horrible.
not. It's horrible, and I feel so much for any owner who it happens in their parking lot.
Yeah,
like I know when it happened at Armature Works at 2 p.m, has nothing to do with Armature Works. They had to all pay so much extra for security starting the next day as a business owner. Their costs went up immediately. Something else that happened is people don't take into consideration. My insurance shot up. I mean, shout out to Italiano Insurance. I love them. But everybody's insurance in Ybor, ours rose $10,000 a year because of an incident of a shooting that happened 8 blocks from me.
$10,000 a year.
$10,000 a year. So just for my one business because of that. And same thing just happened in the other places where the shootings were. Your insurance will go up. Yep. Your insurance goes up immediately.
You, like a lot of bars, have a ton of women working there.
Yes.
Do they come to you and feel unsafe? Have you had people quit over this?
I have, yes.
Wow.
I'm not going to just like anything, we do everything in our power. But of course, the next few days you have, even though it's more safe than it's ever been because you see a bigger police presence. It's
emotional though.
It's an emotional thing. Yeah. And it is. It's when you have, thank God the bar was closed at that time. But, everybody at that time was locked in the bar.
Yeah.
We shut the doors. We heard there was a shooting. We're very in touch. We all have a way to engage and say, oh, this is happening down here. We're very communicative. Even if we see someone or think something's off, we report it immediately.
Yeah,
so
you're really the first line of defense in a lot of ways.
We're very preventative. I mean, people, just like anything else, people have no idea. 99% of these things are prevented.
Right.
Because we do see something off or someone that is walking around that looks disheveled and like something's very wrong.
Yeah, you've got however many cops and then probably hundreds of security guys standing outside of every
so we'll call it like, we just didn't let this guy in, look out for this guy, don't let him in. Or you know what I'm saying? So we're very in communication.
With Tampa PD too, right? It's like the bar owners, the security, and Tampa PD all working together.
The Ybor, the guys, the chief of police and the people working Ybor really do a great job. I really have to give them a shout out. It's just that ever since COVID, the police staff or police force has gone down 40% because people are more nervous to be a police officer.
40 now, is that a Tampa statistic?
It is a Tampa statistic that I heard 3 months ago. So
40%?
yes.
That's not good.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, think about what they go through as being a police officer.
It's a hard job.
It's a hard job.
Probably the hardest job out there.
And then you've got phones on you. You can't, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
I feel for them.
Crime is so bad for the economy, for economics of a neighborhood. 100%. You have crime, you can't do anything.
Yep.
You can't open
even
a bagel shop.
Just a neighborhood.
In a neighborhood.
Like you said,
doesn't matter where it is.
If you're looking to invest and to buy a home and one crime, like
remember the girl on a run in Hyde Park? I think it was only a year and a half, 2 years ago, who got the shit beat out of her on a run. Horrible story.
Yep.
Horrible story.
Happened right like 2 blocks from my house.
And then, should I buy in this neighborhood?
Right.
It's a great, fantastic neighborhood.
Right.
Of course you should.
That's one in a million that happens.
Crime really is the root cause of a lot of negative economic impacts that are emotionally based. Like your insurance going up by $10,000. It's an emotional reaction by an insurance company.
Right.
It's like this, I don't know that it's probably never going to happen. You're never going to have an area with zero crime.
Correct.
Right. But stigma is important. And I hate that Ybor has that stigma when it happens in other neighborhoods. And I'm wondering why. I guess it's always just been the nightlife site. So it's had that connotation. Hey, that's where the drunk people are. I don't know. Maybe these nice new restaurants and these live music venues will paint a more diverse picture of things to do, so it's not exclusively nightclubs and bars.
Right.
And because of that over the years, that connotation will change.
And like you said, the
hopefully.
Development happening just a few blocks out, like the new pickleball place.
Right.
Or there's more fun. It's becoming more of a community. There's a new Gold's Gym opening in Ybor
Totally.
City. So it's really going to be just a better place overall because some of the old decrepit houses, it's just going to feel better.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about the new pier area.
Yes,
that's
totally.
being built. Literally, that's not even half a mile. So
It's right down the street.
yeah, there'll be new hotels, there'll be people, and they're going to keep it safe, and we're going to all be joined together.
And how cool would it be to walk from Coyote Ugly or to your bar from a boardwalk that
Right.
connects to the Riverwalk and all of downtown and all that?
And I don't think a lot of people even realize, but we're open during the day on the weekends, and it's all people getting off cruise ships. They all
Totally.
come straight to Ybor. They all come to buy, that they come off the cruise ships and come to Ybor City, and they're walking around and all day we're taking pictures with people. They're like, oh, we've seen the movie. This is the bar. They're so excited. It's families. It's a mixture of everybody.
So you as a bar owner are more optimistic about a neighborhood having more things to do rather than just, hey, this is only for nightlife. 7th Avenue is like Bourbon Street.
Absolutely.
So would you argue that you wouldn't want it to turn into like a Bourbon Street where it's only bars?
Correct.
You
I like the
that
mixture.
mix.
I like the mixture, and it has been a mixture, and that's what's great about it.
Yeah. And it's getting mixed up even more.
It is.
And I think it's going to be so cool when those new apartments open.
Yeah.
People that actually want to live in Ybor City and experience that culture and live in
That's
such
what I mean.
a
It's going to be much more
place.
live, work, play. You know what I mean? You have your gym, you have your pickleball, you can go out at night to Coyote Ugly. You can, it's going to be awesome.
I feel like all the people talking shit about Ybor in the comments live in like Wesley Chapel or Brandon, and they just see something on the news and they're afraid of it.
Exactly.
For no reason.
I mean, the whole point of news is to put fear in people.
Yeah.
And it's like once you get out and you connect or you talk to people or you go, like I said, if they come to Ybor with me, they're like, this is nothing what I thought it was going to be like.
We were there every day for the past few months when our old studio was in Ybor, and I loved it. I mean, I love walking around and seeing all the different people and the tourists. And we were finished with the podcast, went downstairs. It's right next to you guys. And there was these young French people like, oh, we just landed in Tampa. We're here. And I was like, what? Welcome. Fantastic.
Right.
It's
while we were decorating Saturday, we had a whole crew from Germany, then another whole crew that was visiting from Italy. Cause it's amazing.
People want to see
They
it.
want to see Ybor.
They want to see Ybor. There's a lot
And
of
luckily
heritage
they
there
don't
for those
watch our
people.
local news that's
Right.
painting this picture of Ybor City so dangerous.
Exactly.
And Tampa really needs to work on that aspect of it. That's really a news thing because
I think it
when
is
the
too.
shootings happen other places, they don't get near the exposure
Correct.
that we get. for what shooting.
And then people go, another Ybor shooting. It's not fair.
And even in the last shooting, we saw that they said Ybor right away when it happened nowhere near there.
That was a screw up.
Yeah.
Yeah. The chief said Ybor when he should have said Soho. That was a big screw up. But I think the reason he said it is because even in his head, he's thinking about Ybor.
Right.
No different from a newscaster or a journalist trying to get that story. Yeah, it's not good. But I also think it's a natural progression of a transition just of a neighborhood. Like you're gonna have that old way of thinking for a while before you get new people in there.
Yeah, fast forward 3 to 4 or 5 years, I think we're gonna just see it being so much, like you said, curb appeal is gonna be more beautiful, everything, it's just gonna feel a lot better.
Yeah, and I think people now are just in kind of this in-between where they make those judgments.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
We have seen just in the last few weeks, our sales have increased and the crowd looks and feels better.
You've mentioned sales in your statements a couple times. Obviously you're a business owner, so you have to, but are you really tracking like week to week and seeing the ebb and the flow and how news affects your business and all of that sort of stuff?
Yes, absolutely. So we put down, what the weather is, what's happening. Tomorrow, for instance, Bad Bunny is doing his after party at our bar. That's
exciting.
Yeah, that's super exciting. So, we do things like special events, things like that. And I apologize, regroup to what were you originally asking me? I kind of went off on that.
I kind of forgot too. We were just talking about transitioning.
Yeah,
we were talking about you tracking your
yes.
sales.
So every day I wake up, it says what we did last year, what we did this year. So you see right away. But then I also see, is it thunderstorming? Was it, you always got to look at the weather,
all the variables,
all the moving variables that make a night, or we're having a bet on Tuesday. We're going to do way bigger sales because we have a Bad Bunny after concert.
So tell me about that. So he's just bringing the crew along.
Yeah, bringing the crew.
Is it a private event or is it for?
It's open to the public, but he has a private area, obviously.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, but I've been seeing a lot of college kids coming back to Ybor now. So I'm very excited about that because when I first opened, that was the big thing. Every fraternity, we'd have a fraternity on Tuesdays was college night. And every UT kid, every USF, it was full of college kids. We were packed wall to wall on a Tuesday.
In the early 2000s.
In the early 2000s.
When did that all kind of fizzle out?
So it started changing, I would just say like 6 to 7 years ago. Because they used to get a bus, so they couldn't do that anymore for liability. They used to take a bus from their fraternity to Coyote. So for whatever reason, they were serving drinks on the bus, and I guess.
They got shut down.
Yeah, the bus, they got shut down. But I'm starting to see, because they had that, it's dangerous in their mind. But ever since the other shooting happened now in Soho, they're like, oh, we can go to Ybor too.
Right.
Not to throw them under the bus. They just feel, they understand. I think it made people understand that this can happen anywhere and to be as safe as we can. And then once you go to, Coyote and you see the bachelorette parties and all the, we are now booking sorority and fraternity parties for fall already.
It's interesting you've seen that shift so really quickly.
Yeah.
Like recently, you're saying you've seen a lot more college kids come back to
and just
Ybor.
a very good-looking crowd, people dressing up, which I used to always say, I live between here and Miami, and people here, they're starting to really dress up again to go out and look good. And,
Yeah,
I always say when I opened, Blue Martini used to be open, and that was a really big spot to go, and people would dress up and they would dance, not just nightclub like that, but it was amazing. Dance. Like it was amazing.
And people are kind of moving in that direction now, you see?
I hope so. We do need better nightclubs and places to go dance.
For sure.
For
sure. And you need everything in between, right? You need that kind of sit down cocktail vibe.
Yep.
You need the live music venue.
Yep.
But then you also need Coyote Ugly.
Yeah.
You need
one of my best nights,
sometimes.
I love going to Hotel Haya, having a drink there.
Yes.
Having
you
a great,
need it all.
and you want to go there, then you hop around. That's the whole point. It's great.
It's more than nightlife also has a bad connotation to it, where when you kind of think nightlife, you might think nightclub. Right.
And we're right in between.
And
we have a
right
DJ and you can dance and do all that, but we're not a nightclub.
No, but
I love going to a nightclub.
You also have like darts and a pool table, right?
Yeah.
You
Yep.
kind of have a little hangout area.
Yep.
It's not just a big bar with a loud music and that's it.
Yep.
You kind of can hang out and shoot the shit,
Yep.
so to speak. Yeah, you have to have
having pool tables is awesome because people love to come play pool during the day or in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
We have, basketball game, boxing machine, all those things, and we make sure we own them as well. So as an entrepreneur mind,
That's a good move.
Yeah, along with
Every dollar counts.
my friend over here.
Yeah.
So we do it together, and so every dollar counts. So people, I'm like, put an ATM somewhere. I always tell my friends this, like, you'd be
I saw
surprised.
you install the new one right out front.
There you go. You saw it. Yeah. That's ours.
Let's talk Miami, because Miami, you talk about nightlife. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Some of the best
you
clubs
can't
on the
even
planet are in Miami.
Absolutely.
How does the Coyote Ugly compare just in terms of like vibe, patrons, the location versus 7th Avenue?
Well, I don't own a Coyote Ugly in Miami.
Oh, you live there.
I just have a development.
What are your locations? Destin,
Tampa, Daytona Beach, and Panama City Beach.
Got it.
So Panama City Beach is the #1 spring break capital. So believe it or not, that's my smallest location, but my sales are the highest in Panama City.
Whoa.
And it's only 1,800 square feet.
1,800 square
and
feet.
this building, usable use is 4,000.
That's super tiny.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the line, I mean, we have,
Look
there
at
you
the
go,
line.
right there. That line is every night on right there. That's Coyote Ugly. And I own that building and land as well. So that was a great investment. And me and my partners that I'm fortunate enough to own it with, that's back in the day, we bought it right there and, changed it and bought that 21 years ago. And that is, 21 years ago, we've had that. And it's such a great piece of land. So when I tell anyone opening a business, whatever it is, whether it's you're a hairdresser or nail salon, try to buy the building, buy the dirt. That right now, I mean, just the land alone, we've been offered $10 million.
Holy shit.
Because it's right on Front Beach Road. It's right in the center.
Condo tower
they could build a hotel. They could build. So it's just such a great investment.
It's a great investment. It provides you with security. You don't have to deal with a landlord. You have creative control.
Correct.
You have every
and you do
advantage.
Improvements. I love when I add, a new AC unit or
here's
you
the
do
problem,
things. You
though,
always
today.
want to do things.
Here's the problem today, though. Had you not had that location open and you went there, what are you paying for that building? Like you said, $10 million. Now it's not it's cost prohibitive to open up a bar.
Right.
Same thing on 7th Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
Timing is important in real estate too.
Very
it might not
important.
make sense to own real estate and open up a bar right now, unless you got buku bucks.
Yes. And
That's
like
a
you
tough
said,
call.
there's owning a bar is very different from owning an accounting firm.
Yeah, true.
There's a lot more liability and things that.
So what are your busiest nights? Like,
In Tampa?
Weekend off, in general, right? I'm trying to figure out, like, is the day before Thanksgiving big, right?
Yep.
That's usually huge.
That's a huge, huge night. Memorial Day is coming up. So we are prepping Panama City, Destin, and Daytona will be packed. Tampa's a little different because we're not on the water.
Right.
So each location is very different. So you've got everybody from Atlanta, Tennessee, Alabama. Everyone goes to Panama City and Destin for Memorial Day. So it kicks off our summer, and it's our biggest weekend of the year.
And spring break, you probably don't get a lot of spring break patrons in Tampa.
Correct. You do not.
But certainly a shitload in Panama City.
But we literally, I send, and that's what's fun to work for us, is you get to go to different locations and work. So a lot of the girls will go for a month to Panama City.
Oh, fun.
And so I've also purchased a Coyote Ugly home. So it's right near the bar and they get to stay there and they really enjoy it. They enjoy mixing it up and being involved in that. And we're during spring break for 30 days, every night is like a Saturday night. We're packed solid.
Man.
You've got the kids from the Northeast come the first week. Then you've got like University of Georgia and University of Tennessee, and then all those kids that come the second week, then the third week's out west, like Indiana University, and all those kids come down. It's amazing. They really plan it out well.
It is kind of cool how you have that pace of different schools getting off, and seeing all the
and then
different
again,
kids
you
come
have
through.
a mix of everybody. We just had Bike Week, which was awesome. We just had
Right.
Jeep Week last week, where all the Jeeps were there. It's really, really fun. Each location is very unique and very, very fun to its degree.
Totally.
But Tampa, the building itself, the heritage, it's definitely, up there as my favorite for sure.
Really
and now
unique.
I personally live
very
here.
unique to Florida, certainly.
Yes.
Like there's other very historical cities like New Orleans and Charleston, Savannah. Obviously, the Northeast has a ton, but Florida, Ybor City is so unique. There's really nothing like it.
No, there's not.
At all.
And like I said, Tampa to me still, when I'm in other places, it doesn't get the accolades it should. I think we're still known for Mons Venus, or I'm like,
Right.
I was in Germany.
Bern
and that's the
Steakhouse,
first
Mons
thing.
Venus.
It's like, there's a
about
lot
it.
more to offer here.
Yeah.
So when they come visit and they visit me in Hyde Park and we walk around there and then we go to Ybor and then we go downtown, to say Boulogne or what, they're just like, what? This is nothing. Like, this is nothing what I thought it was like when people would describe Tampa.
Why do you live between Tampa and Miami? You just love Miami?
I love a major city as well. And I invested in condos.
Got it.
And land there as well.
Got it.
So I like the mix. So it's a ton of international people in Miami.
Right.
Where I think we're moving in that direction, but we're not there yet.
Totally. Would you ever open another concept that's separate from Coyote Ugly in Miami?
I have been asked to. I guess when you're in this business for so long, they think you might know what you're doing a little bit, but I'm still learning. I am open to opening other concepts, but really land development and everything is what I love. My partners and I also own where the EOS is. We bought that Winn-Dixie shopping center 9 years ago. So really development is what I really love doing, like commercial development is what I love doing. So a lot of people don't know that I'm very involved in that. And then buying homes and condos, like I have a tenant in another business that does that. So the new EOS was a Winn-Dixie, bought that for $3 million 8 years ago. Well worth way more over that, and EOS pays great rent, and
that was
awesome.
A great one. Yeah.
Yeah.
EOS is cool too. I'm a member there. That's awesome. So they're your tenant.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yep. I didn't know you were into development and investment.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were.
So that's why I like
doing
South Florida.
I had no idea.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Cool.
I think I make more money doing that.
I think everyone does.
Yeah.
Everyone does. Anyone that's a business owner that also owns real estate, it's always real estate. Is the
well, and you got to do it
builder.
as you go. People, there are some people out there who say don't buy. I always listen to Barbara Corcoran and these type of people. My first condo I bought when I was 22 years old, right out of college. I bought my first condo. And then once that one did better, I bought my next. Then I bought my next. Then, by age 30, I bought a, beautiful home in Atlanta, then sold that to actually TI, which was so cool.
Oh, wild.
And then but after time, I decided to move and base myself in Tampa for so many, it's like I call it like a small, big city where I think the traffic is amazing here. People complain. I'm like, this is nothing compared to New York or LA or Atlanta.
The complainers need to travel.
Yeah, they need to, right, exactly.
They need to travel to see the crime connotation we've talked about. They need to travel to see the traffic,
we
growth.
have the number one airport. I mean, I was living in Atlanta, going to the Atlanta airport. The Tampa airport's amazing. Everything's on time. This is such an amazing area.
We are blessed to live here in so many ways. People have no idea how good we have it.
We do.
It's true. So
and I know just to bring up, I know the biggest thing that's happening now that is hurting me, and I'm sure is hurting other people, is that my employees can't afford to live close anymore. So that is becoming something that we need to figure. I mean, I say we as a whole,
as a city,
as you see, I'm sure we've all had friends in any business say, God, I'm having to move out to Lutz, or I can't, my rent's doubling this year. I'm seeing my girls have to move, my staff, security, everyone has to keep moving further and further out. So I know that if I'm seeing that, every business is seeing that.
I think it'll help when we get more supply with gas works and some of the other developments. You have a lot of infill. That'll help, but it's not enough.
Right. Even being in Miami, everything's vertical, and even the rents are actually less in Miami than they are here. People don't believe me.
People are
like,
so
they
surprised.
Yeah, because we don't have the supply.
A few years ago,
we don't have the supply.
We don't have the supply. We need the supply. A few years ago, I visited a friend from college. He owns a condo outside what's like the north. It's not Brickell. It's north of downtown, wherever that area is. Beautiful view. You can see the water, the whole thing.
Okay.
He paid like $250 for it 5 years ago, whatever it was. And I'm like, oh man, this is worth $650, $750. And he was like, dude, no.
Yeah.
No, it's worth like $400,000. I'm like, what are you talking about? You have a water view. He goes, look at my view. Look how many buildings we have here. Look at the inventory.
Right.
He says the prices are low. And I have a Tampa Bay, Sarasota, St. Pete mindset.
Right.
I'm thinking this condo is worth way more than it really is.
Because we don't have the supply.
We don't have the
supply.
supply.
And the vertical.
Austin's rents have gone down. They have a little bit of an oversupply. People think that building more creates more traffic, creates more problems, creates more higher prices. None of that's true.
Correct.
Actually, if you have a dense urban core, there's less traffic. People are walking. People are taking the trolley. People are taking the scooter, Uber, etc.
You nailed it. When I'm in Brickell, everyone I know, including myself, my car, I don't drive my car anywhere.
Exactly.
You either Uber or walk.
Exactly. We need to take the same approach here in Tampa. And if we don't, It's going to be a problem for your girls at the bar. It's going to be a problem for the college educated kid who graduates UT and makes $65,000 a year.
Correct.
Where are you going to live, dude?
Right.
Good luck. And then you're going to go what? Move to Wesley Chapel and drive in. Well, there's more traffic right there.
Exactly.
So that's a major issue that I'm trying to dig into more on the show. I want to get someone from the Tampa Housing Authority, someone who is in charge at a local government level who's trying to tackle that problem. That's a really, really bad situation.
I think that's our number one issue.
It's a crisis in a lot of ways.
It is, because fast forward 5 years from now, where are my bartenders going to be able to afford to live? And then, in other areas, Hurricane Michael had wiped out Panama City, and we literally could not. I had to purchase a home for my staff to live in. And that was a true thing. You've
been extremely smart in a lot of ways through real estate investing and development, because it's hedged against some of the ebb and flow of operating a bar, right?
Right.
And because your worker, the question will become for you, well, now what do I have to pay my workers so they can actually live near my business?
Correct.
That's
and
a
I'm
problem.
all about taking care of them, and also like my cleaning lady, again, my bathroom valet. Where is he?
Absolutely. But if you look at the macro, if you look at all the businesses that are going to have to make those decisions, you're going to have a portion of them that have to pay their employees more, which cuts their bottom line, which might make it, they might be in a situation where they have to close down.
Right. And
just because of affordable housing.
Several of my friends that live here, like you said, that make good money, 100 to 150,000, they're moving, they can't afford to live in this area anymore.
Yeah.
And
I just bought a house.
I feel so bad for them. I'm just like,
I've been looking for a house for a while. I sold my condo last year. We've been looking for a house pretty diligently for at least, it's been 8 months a year.
Yeah.
Wasn't able to find anything. And anything we did find, it was like, I don't know, $600,000-800,000 for a shit box for a starter home. It's unfortunate. That's just the way it is.
I know. I looked for my home for 3 years.
The reason it's that way is we don't have the inventory.
Correct.
That's a huge problem. We need to be more dense. We need to change our zoning codes. We need to let the developers do what they do. A lot of people get angry at developers. These people are greedy. They're making a ton of money. They're definitely making a ton of money. But the fact is, you can't stop people from moving here.
Correct.
They have a great reason to. We live in an incredible place. And just like you, when you came here, you saw the vision over 20 years ago. A lot of people think that same thing. We have amazing beaches. We have no income tax state. We have amazing weather, great sports. We're on the water. Yep. I mean, the people have every reason in the world to move to Tampa. But if there's no supply, you're going to have an increase in price. It's basic economics. Everyone really understands it.
Right.
There's a negative atmosphere about growth and about development and about construction and building things. And if this show could do anything, it would shine a light on the real story.
Well, that's what I love about your show is the people you have on, we're talking about these things.
Yeah.
And I think it gives a different perspective to everybody.
People need to hear it.
From a bar owner to a developer, because, to people who are just trying to survive and just rent.
I want to talk to everyone.
Yeah,
I want to talk to everyone who's involved in our community.
Right.
Whether it's a bar owner or an artist or a developer, like whoever it is, it's all a part of the same pie, right? Like we're all contributing to our city here, and there's a lot of ignorance about the reality of how do we grow, right?
I agree.
Because we're going to grow, right? We're going to grow whether we like it or not.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that have a sentiment of keep people out, don't build anymore. We don't want more traffic.
I can't understand that mindset at all. I love that we're growing.
I love it too.
That. Like I said, there's more international people coming here,
but I understand the fear, like in Buckhead, right? That example is perfect.
Yes.
You're an operator. It was kind of a cool little vibey area.
It was great,
the whole thing was bulldozed.
They literally
and now it's like
the whole area.
A mall and condos.
Yep.
I think people are afraid of that for a good reason.
Exactly.
I don't want that to happen here.
I don't either.
I don't think anyone does. For Ybor specifically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's not much more of an area like that. So it would be,
True.
We just need to keep the integrity and history of Ybor.
Totally.
And add some cool, new, amazing things.
And I think that's happening.
Exactly.
And I think the road to get there might be rough because you're going to have closures. And I think you mentioned before the show, like 19.
Yeah, just in the last year, 19 places have closed down. Just like the soup company that's been there 10 years just closed down last week. You know, and I don't particularly know if it's the end of their lease or what they're not being renewed. I can't give you each detail, but that's pretty much what's happening to a lot of people right now.
It's a combination of, I think, everything we're talking about. I think you have leases expiring that are not being renewed. I also think...
Or their leases are going up, their rent's going up, so they're like, I can't afford it.
But imagine too, a lease going up is one thing, right? You're going to always have that natural progression of increasing rents, probably in general. Of course. But when you combine that with the affordable housing issue we talked about, if you have to pay your girls an extreme number just so they can live close to your establishment, that's a big problem for a business owner. Absolutely. And it's not your fault at all. It's the fault of the local government not opening up development so we can increase supply. I'll get details on this and we'll share it on the show so people can show up and support and understand more of the process. I'm understanding it myself as we move along with the show, meeting all these people, talking to all these people. But there is some sort of a zoning change happening with Tampa City Council, I think in September, November, later in the summer, fall, where they're going to be considering changing our land code here. So establishing rules like, hey, you don't have to build a huge parking garage, or you don't have to have certain number of square footage per apartments. Basically, long story short, we can build more density in our urban core.
Which makes sense because that's what takes so much of the room.
That's exactly right.
Like my other bars, I have to have 36 parking spots. So when you add, there's some cities that have that. Some cities
now think
don't.
about how stupid this
Counties
is.
to have it.
There's so much enforcement on DUI. Okay. Why would a bar be required to have parking spaces?
Correct.
It's an establishment where you serve alcohol.
Well, that's where we were saying they need to zone things differently.
Totally.
I'd rather not have, they're just basically
it costs you
saying
more.
You have to have, for my building, you have to have 36 parking spots. Well, I am a bar. Now, if I'm a doctor's office or, you know what I'm saying? That's different. But that's where I'd be like, I don't want parking. Let people just all Uber here.
Parking.
I don't want anyone to,
No one should park.
Right. There should be.
You should take the trolley. You should Uber. Now, does Tampa and Ybor have that parking requirement?
No, it does not. So it's because it's a standalone, it's a conjoined building. And of course, as you know, there are parking lots you pay. There's pay lots.
So the city says,
but what you're saying though is exactly what I agree with. I mean, they have 3 new huge parking garages. We need those to be buildings and places to
so
develop.
I was talking.
We have to have some parking. Of course you do.
Totally.
But
absolutely.
But they need to change the requirements. Between downtown, midtown, these areas.
I had Casey Ellison on the show. He's a builder. He built Stovall House, Oxford Exchange, Sparkman Wharf. He's done a lot of awesome projects in Tampa. He's building in St. Petersburg now too. He's moving beyond construction and actually doing development. So he has an interesting perspective on both markets and how each government kind of operates with developers.
Right, they're so different.
He actually said through parking studies, Tampa has an oversupply of parking.
Wow,
you wouldn't really think that or realize that, but if you take the number of parking spaces and you combine
from St. Pete
versus St. Pete, right? Between the two markets, Tampa has an oversupply of parking. So the idea that we would require a developer or a business owner to buy an empty lot and say, hey, you can't build a building. You have to build a parking garage with a building on the top. Well, that's silly. We shouldn't do that. That is prohibiting a few floors of supply.
Right.
We need as many apartments as we can get in our urban core so your girls have a place to go.
Right.
I guarantee they would love to live in Ybor City if it was built out. Like when
and it is getting better. Like you said, the new condos are about to open. We have 2 new condo complexes opening this week.
Yes.
That are,
and that'll help
and they're
massively.
beautiful. And it's going to help. But
and all the shit people talk about, everything we've talked about, whether it's crime and the nightlife culture, all that sort of stuff. I guarantee there'll be a wait list for those buildings.
Already are.
People want to live in Ybor City.
They do. I've seen a lot of change.
I got a lot of shit. You were talking about that top 50 article where Ybor was like, oh, it's the best neighborhood in America. I agreed with it. I think it's the coolest neighborhood. I think it's amazing. I think it's incredible. And a lot of people were saying like, this guy's crazy. He's obviously not from Tampa, blah, 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 blah. You watch, those 2 new buildings will be filled with people. People want to live in Ybor City.
And where I can agree with that completely is my building that I live in Miami and Brickell. It's full of kids and families.
Right.
And it's in this major city. I think people right now have that Ybor's dangerous. So you're not going to have a 3-year-old, running around. But soon, when it's more safe and there's more high rises and these developments come to fruition, you're going to see a lot more families and people moving here.
Totally. And then you've got the cigar culture, which is so cool for people to enjoy. You've got the factories. You've got these incredible restaurants with air quote like Tampa food, right? Like Carmon's and the Columbia and all those places. So yeah, it's an exciting place. You have a lot of changes, and it's a long road ahead, but at the end of it, when all of it's built and it's all said and done and it's 10 years in the future, we are talking about, I believe, one of the coolest places in America, and a destination people will come to and their jaw's going to be on the floor. Their jaw's going to be on the floor, not only with the things to do and the different bars and the live music and the restaurants and all of that, but it's going to be on the floor because of the history that's tied into all of this new fun stuff to do. It's very, very unique to Florida. And that's what
you need. Like even, not to defer back to Miami, but you have Little Havana just a mile from me. And it's like you're in Cuba.
Yeah.
That's what, Ybor is similar, but that you need these different pockets of culture. And that's what makes a city so awesome and amazing.
And when you drive down 75 and you see Wesley Chapel and Lakewood Ranch and all these suburban developments, in my opinion, that is death.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to live in that area. To me, sitting in a car just to go get milk and eggs 15 minutes away from a grocery store, having to drive everywhere.
I love the walk. And you
want that walkable, urban, clean, safe environment. And I think we can get there with everything we've talked about today.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, you're an optimist. I love your attitude. I think it's super cool to have you as an operator here in Ybor City, being a spokesperson, like loving the neighborhood, loving competition, healthy, great competition, having options for people.
I mean, the more the merrier to me. The more good businesses and good bars and things we can add to this area is amazing.
The more the merrier. I love that attitude. Totally. Well, so people can find you on 7th Avenue. Everyone knows Coyote Ugly. What's your Instagram if people want to follow along?
My Instagram is Joanna Danielle Olsen, JoannaDanielleOlsen.
And then the Coyote Ugly Instagram is Coyote Ugly 813.
Yes, at Coyote Ugly 813.
So Bad Bunny tomorrow. This episode will air Friday.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be over. What do we got this weekend that people can check out?
We got the big Cuban festival coming up here.
There's Gail Guayardo. How is she?
She was great. She was promoting women businesses in the Gold's Gym.
Love it.
That's coming to Ybor.
We've had Kimberly Curtis on the show.
Yep,
she's another one with a great, ambitious, optimistic attitude about the changes in Ybor. She's another really good operator.
That's what I'm saying. You have that good, so you have that. We're all out there to run a great, good business in Ybor.
Yes, it's really, really cool to have good people that are owners of all these establishments. There doesn't seem to be a lot of fighting and this owner wants this and that owner wants that. I'm sure you have a little bit of that, but in a general sense, it seems like everyone has really high hopes for all the
when you said we get together,
happening.
we're all like, how can we all do better?
Yes.
And keep it safe and do all that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. Well, Joanna, thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me. And I'm a big fan of your show, so I'm honored to be on it. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. All right. See you next week. Bye, everybody. Thank you guys for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like it. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. Give us a comment. Give us some feedback. We want to know how we're doing. Thanks for watching. Bye, everybody.